and this is the second portion of my old house painting. I will be doing the frame and the base coats for the old house portion. For the very first portion, I will just be using titanium white to kind of map out the frame. You'll see me do some rough measurements here as well. I'm sort of basing off of a picture, so I'm going back and forth between the picture and my canvas to map out how long certain edges are and where to place certain lines and everything like that. I don't often do framework like this for a lot of my paintings, but I didn't want the house to look extremely wonky or lopsided or anything like that, so I thought that this would probably be the best solution for that sort of thing. And I am going to go back in and correct some of these lines a little bit later. I'm going to put down a little bit of a base coat on my roof, and you can start to see some of those lines that from the background trees kind of poke through that roof base coat. And by the end of the painting, they don't entirely go away, but they're quite a bit less noticeable. Alright, moving on to the brick portion. For this, I'm going to be using titanium white, Mars black, burnt umber, burnt sienna, and yellow oxide. Again, this is just my base coat for my brick. I'm going to start by outlining where I want my windows to be and my door. And then I'll fill everything else in with that red brick color, with the different tones on the different sides of the house. Of course, for this portion I will be flipping my painting over periodically to get the insides of those lines to make sure they're quite a bit straighter than they would be if I just did it the other direction. Again, it is also helpful to periodically flip over your painting and view them from different angles, stand back and take a look, because it helps you determine if you have enough contrast in your painting and to determine if everything is the right shape, or at least how you want it to look. I will also be correcting some of the window shapes a little bit later in the painting. So right now they look a bit rough, but once I start painting them in, filling in those missing colors, then I'll start correcting some of those shapes. And now we're going to start getting into that base shading. I need to determine where my lighting is coming from. I have my lighting coming from the side facing the front of the house, or a little bit off to the side from the front of the house. So the light portion of the house is going to be that dark side of the house where all the shadow is. Especially when not using a reference photo, make sure to always determine where your source of lighting is going to be coming from. It's the most helpful thing that I've found, to just have an imaginary source of lighting in your head the entire time you're doing your painting, because that just makes it a lot easier with determining where your shadows are going to be and how you want everything to look. For this next portion, I will be using titanium white, Mars black, burnt sienna, and yellow oxide. And I'll be making the mortar between the bricks. So I really want those thin lines, and I want them to be straight across in the sense that they follow the 3D structure of the house. I'm using a flathead brush to do these lines so that I could get nice thin lines. I didn't want to use my few bristle brush because sometimes that creates lines that are a little bit too thick for this sort of work and not necessarily as straight as I would want them to be. I'm going to do the same horizontal lines on the other side of the house following the opposite curvature. I will also be realigning my windows to the mortar lines instead of the lines that I currently have them on. I'm going to be redoing those top lines because I figured out that they're going the wrong direction. So I'm going to be painting over them, and then once that dries, I'll redo them. And don't be afraid to make a few mistakes in these paintings. If you don't like the way it looks, you can always go back over it. I'm using acrylic paint, so it's very easy. You just have to wait for it to dry, and you can go right back over it. But those little mistakes are what give our paintings character. if we wanted everything to look like a photograph, then we would just print out our photographs. Now I'm getting those staggered vertical mortar lines in there. This took a lot of time. I'm mostly just using a single press of my brush with my mortar colored paint on it. Which is why I wanted to use that flathead brush. I've run out of time for this video, so I will continue doing those vertical lines in the next video. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to like the video if you enjoyed it, and click that subscribe and ring that bell down in the bottom. Again, thank you all so much for watching. Bye bye.